Hello, and welcome back to another episode of VanillaTyme. This is episode 11, I believe, and we're going to start today's episode off by taking a look at some work that I did in the Nether. That's right, we finally got the tunnel built. Now, I did say that we were going to do some graffiti on the walls. I'm not sure we have enough space right now, but one project that I have been hinting at that I want to get to in the future is map art, and I think we might do it that way. So for now, I think this is going to be how it's going to look. One thing that I would like to add is because we're right behind Victor Dess's portal here for access to the Nether Hub, the fact that we have this extra side entrance, because this is technically like our personal entrance, which we can use instead, I do want to keep this. So I think I am still going to convert this out to make it look more like this tunnel. So we gotta just widen this up a little bit and offer this as an alternative, just in case people get confused about how to get in and out of the tunnel here, because they may see this one and think this is our portal, which it's not. But yeah, so I just extended the floor design. I kind of still want to fix the underneath part here, but that's a lot of extra work and you don't really see it. So I think, nah, you know what? I think we're good here. You see a little bit of the red poking through, but that's all right. And then if we walk through the back, you can still access up to the nether roof to get to the farms. And if you really want to be sneaky, I think it's right. Yeah, we still have the old tunnel here. I didn't actually take it down, I just blocked it off. So if we do change our mind and we want to do something there, we can. But I think that pretty much finishes the tunnel here for now. And we can get to talking about what we've done at the base itself in between episodes. So if we come over here, we've done a little bit more work on the wall here and the shelf. Nothing too big, just cleaning things up a little bit. But more importantly, if we come down here, you can see that the entrance here has been blocked off. Well, there's a reason for that. You notice there's a button here. We now have a nice little simple 3x3 piston door. So now we can kind of close that off to get in and out, which means I was gonna say we can safely kind of keep ourselves in, but I actually haven't put the other side of the button in yet. So you can actually only open the door and close the door from the outside at the moment, which I may change. But yeah, it's just a regular 3x3 piston door, and then we just swapped out the lever that you normally have with this type of design with a copper bulb, and then just hook that up onto a button. Yeah, I haven't really done much down here. We have added an extra tick delay over here as we were having an issue where the chickens weren't getting splashed sometimes. And now that we've got this new setup here with the glass, I'm thinking we won't have any chickens winding up kind of in places where they shouldn't. So that, I think, should be solved. And yes, I've added a little fence here, so our lovely little slimes that spawn randomly like this can't get out. So yeah, I was thinking about trying to make that look a bit like one of the vault doors from Fallout. It'd be kind of funny how you've got like the Stone Age over here, and then like there's like a little Fallout bunker in the corner. We might change the shape in the future, but we'll see. It's hard to do with a 3x3, especially when you can't really do stair blocks to make it look like a circle. At least not without showing stuff behind it, and then you gotta like layer the 3x3 door, and yeah. We've also been doing a decent amount of AFK, so we've got plenty of extra wool now, and we have been making sales in the shopping district, which is nice. Speaking of which, let's take a look. So once we're done with our shopping district, look around and see what our profits are looking like. I have been collecting, as I do, on a daily basis, so this will only be collections for the last couple days or so, because wasn't on yesterday. But once we're done here, we can discuss today's build, or should I say builds. Ooh, we've been selling some iron. Excellent. Ooh, made some more sales here. Did they overpay for the... Doesn't look like the books are selling. I think there's better prices on the server now. I may have to consider dropping my prices to be more competitive. And then let's see if we've made any wool sales. So the wool sales haven't been huge. It's been mostly one person buying out my blue wool. Oh, we got a light blue sale. Ooh, okay, white's been popular. Not surprising. And that looks to be about it. Did I check these already, right? Yep. Okay. So 25 diamonds, not too bad. Alrighty. So let's talk about today's content. So I have two builds that I'd like to do this episode. One of the builds is the starter house that we've been AFKing in. Ooh, magma. Wait, no, I have a farm. What am I doing? Have I overshot my... Oh gosh, I'm getting lost in my own tunnel. One of the builds is the starter house. So not the starter house that I'm coming out of the driveway for, but the actual first build that Harding and I overnighted in when we first joined the server. So this little house here is woefully inadequate and out of place. Unfortunately for us, it needs to come down. With that said, I have a build that I've put together that's very similar to the starter house over here. It's just missing the garage, and it's a little bit smaller. But it's got like that shelf along the top. It's got kind of more of that house vibe compared to the other builds around the base. And it's big enough that I think I'll only need to shave off the front of this here, and then we can actually leave all the other chests in here intact, so we don't actually need to really tear the whole thing down right away. And then we can do the interior later. So that's one thing that I want to build today. And then I also have an organic, and I'm not entirely sure where to put it. So I'm thinking it might go here. But I'm still thinking about that. We'll make a decision by the time we're done with the house. And also, yeah, made another tree. So I decided to split the branch this time so the trunk kind of goes into two, so it's a double wide and splits off. I was actually inspired by B-Dubs' custom birch tree that he made in his last Hermitcraft episode, where it splits off in two directions. I wasn't a huge fan of how the tree looked at first, but he actually used glass to kind of break up the trunk a little bit better. So I'm kind of doing something similar with the Crimson Stairs here. But yeah, I thought that was cool. Just a little bit of a different shape, and came out all right. The only angle that it doesn't look great in is here, where it looks a little bit thin, but I think it still looks fine. And you'll usually be looking at it from here, where you can kind of see the gap, and it just looks a little bit better, or from the back, which same thing. You can just see the split, and it looks kind of really nice. And if you're wondering about these lamps, I don't know if I want to keep them, mostly because the wax copper bulb, it doesn't really mesh. Like, there's no electricity in Bedrock, right? So these don't make any sense. But the color just blends perfectly with the acacia fence. So maybe you can make the argument that there's like little fireflies hanging around inside the bulb. You know, it's living, right? Maybe with a bit of the white on the bottom. And if we come across here, I've kind of just popped a couple in here every once in a while using stripped oak wood if we're in the dirt path, just to make that a little bit more flush, since you can't put dirt path underneath the wall block. Yeah, with that out of the way, let's get started on this starter house. Started on the starter house. And here it is. So as I mentioned before the time lapse, it is very similar to the larger starter house, the actual Flintstones house. And I think that's by design. I try to keep as much of the shape as possible in common. So what I effectively did was I just kind of shrunk the left side and just kind of pushed it in a little bit. So instead of having that kind of symmetry with the left and the right windows, we've just got the one window in front. And we also kind of cut down the size from the back, just kind of shrink it down, make it fit the footprint a little bit better. And coming inside, it's just all of our stuff that was either outside of the house or just inside the house, just organized a little bit more neatly. So I think it looks good. And then over here, we've got ourselves a nice little water closet. Yes, that's supposed to be the latrine, I guess. And that is Harding's bong stick that that I got for him. So that pretty much does it for this build here. And yeah, I also got rid of the wheat and potato field here. Just kind of open this one up a little bit, but I don't think we need to anymore. And now I can put a feature here, maybe a water feature or another tree or something else. I don't know yet. But now that we've got that space, it really opens up the area and gives me a little bit more an idea of what we want to do with this space. So with that done, it's time for the organic. Now, I was saying I wasn't sure exactly where I was going to put it. I think we're going to put it here because I think the issue with this build is that it's very plain. It's very diorite. I didn't really texture the top or the back of it because I didn't figure people were really going to see it. I'm kind of regretting that now. And I did do a little bit of texturing on the front here after the initial build. Not much, but just so it wasn't just all diorite. But I think a large organic around the same size as the big red dinosaur in the quarry would be a good idea to put here. And I think that's what I'm going to do. So let me grab my materials and we can get that one started. And our dino is complete. Probably gonna add some carpets on top of the purple areas so I can take down the couple of torches that I had to put up just to keep mobs from spawning. But this is the new Brontosaurus. So originally I had the idea that I would be placing this up against maybe the mountain or like just against like a big tall tree, like maybe a giant variant of my custom trees. But it turns out that the height of this thing, the way that I built it in creative actually just happened to be only a couple blocks taller than the side of the building here at the Bolorama. So it actually worked out really well as it kind of like reaching to step on this, and it's kind of using this leg arm to like reach forward, right? And as far as the palette, I just color swapped the palette that I used for the red Brontosaurus down here. And obviously, took out the saddle and the harness and collar and everything. But yeah, so if you're wondering why it looks so similar, yeah, I obviously I wanted to keep them kind of looking the same for consistency, but also because I wanted to keep them the same for consistency. And I managed to match the scale. It just looks a little bit taller just because it's reaching up. but I really wanted to kind of show off that sense of scale without having to go all the way down into the quarry. Because the problem with the red one is that because it's down in the quarry, you're usually looking down into it. And while this does look really cool, it just doesn't really show off just how big it is. Whereas this one, I am stuck again. This one you can see from a mile off. Like if we come over here, like you can see this thing. Which, by the way, that is a fantastic sightline. I love that shot from here. And if we go over to the newly built starter house here, yeah, perfect view. Look at that. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that came out. But yeah, so, you know, went with the wool just like the red one, and we decided to use purple here instead of, instead of the, I think it was crimson. Might have been crimson wood stairs. But yeah, so I think it's pretty good. And then yeah, stuck with the glazed terracotta for a bit of texturing. I will say the purple was a bit of a pain to get my hands on because apparently nobody's really selling it in the shopping district. I found like 56 blocks of purple from somebody selling like loose, like vote rewards. So I wound up having to grow a little bit of it myself. Hence the ugly farm in the corner here, which I'll probably leave up because you cannot see it from the other side, and I never go back there otherwise. I really need to bury all these torches at some point. I haven't done much work back here. Oops. I haven't done much work back here yet, but I figured this was a good way to kind of start that process, get a little bit more detail going on over here. I still have to figure out just how I'm going to box this guy in, because he's kind of sticking out in the road, and I'm not a huge fan of that. But yeah, I think this did just what I wanted it to do, which is just kind of show off the sense of scale for the bigger dinosaurs, really just have it dwarf the builds, and just add that lovely little pop of color in an otherwise very white landscape. And, you know, what better color than purple? Come on. So I decided to check our mailbox, and there's a bit. Some of it's just some silly junk. And diamond, which is nice. Cookies. Be nice to walrus, apparently. And I think this is, yeah, this is Sade's looking for collectibles, which I am not selling at the moment. Actually, I'm just going to take all of these home. That way the light turns off. Cool stuff. Mailboxes are fun. But I think that is going to do it for today. If you liked what you saw and want to see more, consider subscribing if you haven't already. Leave a like, comment, and have fun. Take care. See you next time. Bye!